Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the 7th lecture of chapter 6 on bulk deformation processes. I promised you in the beginning that this is a very long chapter because there are various kinds of bulk deformation processes. As usual, let us see what we will do today. We will first, of course, review very quickly what we covered in the last lecture. And today we will continue with extrusion, and the two major topics in extrusion that we will finish today hopefully are defects in extrusion and extrusion practice. Then will come the next bulk deformation type manufacturing process called rod or wire drawing. Introduction, mechanics of drawing, examples, drawing at elevated temperatures, more examples, drawing of flat strips, drawing of tubes, and some self-study topics like defects in drawing, drawing practice, swaging, etc. Again, we usually try to start with a very ambitious idea of what we will cover today, but sometimes some explanations take much longer and we do not finish all the topics that we are promising ourselves that we will do today. So let us see what you covered last time so that you are mentally on the same page when we start today's work. We gave you this example about the true strain rate, right? The true strain rate, and we gave you as a hint this. Then together we solved it, just very simple geometrical derivation based on sine theta, tan theta, and so on, and then taking derivatives. We continued that example, and in the end we found a relationship for the strain rate, in terms of velocity and radius and die angle and the distance from the neutral axis. We then covered forces or pressures in hot extrusion, the average true strain rate that you started with, for normal lubrication, for poor lubrication, then the equation for extrusion pressure, which is empirical in nature using the extrusion constant Ke, and then we showed you this graph between extrusion pressure on one side, extrusion speed on the other side, that extrusion pressure increases with extrusion speed, and that there will be higher curve for lower temperature, and as the temperature increases, the extrusion pressure will ease out because it will be easier to push the material. Then this was this very good chart for extrusion constant against the temperature, both in Fahrenheit and Celsius, and the extrusion constant both in PSI units and megapascal units. So for different types of materials, aluminum, copper, brass, beryllium, so on, you can find the constant Ke, and of course you would know the extrusion ratio with the design of your die, and therefore just by finding this constant you can directly find the pressure rather than finding it in an ideal way from the equation. You find it from an empirical equation. Then we gave you this example on hot extrusion, a very detailed, we showed you that the pressure equation is this. The flow stress or average flow stress equation for hot work is this C epsilon dot m, and that the average true strain rate equation that you found out earlier. So you substitute from one into the other and from the other into the final equation, and therefore you find the pressure in hot extrusion. So this is totally new. You have not done this before in any of rolling or forging examples. There everything was being done at room temperature, cold working. Here it is being done at hot work, and you can still find it much. So then we showed you the full details. You went through it, we went through it together, and we found. Miscellaneous extrusion processes was the topic. Cold extrusion was one topic inside it. What are the advantages or disadvantages of cold extrusion versus hot extrusion? We saw a few. We showed you two examples of cold extrusion, one which is more like forging and the other which is like backward or impact extrusion, and so on. We showed you this pressure, the maximum pressure against the extrusion ratio, and the A, B, C, D. The A, B, C, D are the different things: direct extrusion with 90-degree angle dies, hydrostatic extrusion with 45-degree line, hydrostatic extrusion with 22.5 cone angle, and ideal homogeneous deformation. So this was a very good chart which we discussed. Then we started with defects in extrusion, where we covered surface cracking and extrusion defect, but very mildly. So, right, we will hopefully start with this again today. So now we are in the current lecture, and let us. So therefore, again, defects in extrusion. The first type of defect is surface cracking due to high extrusion temperature, due to the speed at which you extrude, and due to friction between the billet and the container, or the material and the container. Therefore, the cracking happens on the surface. The cracks are intergranular and are a result of hot shortness. Now, hot shortness is a very special type of problem which we will not discuss too much, but from your material science course, intergranular and intragranular, you understand. You see, when the cracks are along the grain boundaries, they are intergranular, and when they crack from one grain into the other, then they are called transgranular. So these cracks are intergranular, means that they are the lower force type of cracks which happen on the grain boundaries. For detailed description of cracks and so on grain boundaries and transgranular, we can go back to the course on material science. So here what we are saying is that, you see, if it is cold extrusion, then we need a lot of pressure to force the material. So there is high friction between the container walls and the billet material because the pressure is large. So this high friction, together with the speed of the friction, right? As soon as you increase the speed of extrusion, we have seen earlier that the extrusion pressure increases. So already we are extruding at some pressure and there is some friction. And when there is a speed of extrusion, then the pressure required increases. And you know that the force of friction is the coefficient of friction into the normal force. So if the pressure is higher, the normal force is higher, so therefore the total friction is higher. And when this friction is more than a certain amount, then small cracks will start to appear on the surface. Of course, if after extrusion the quality control inspectors find that these cracks are appearing, then they will stop the process. They will see what are the reasons. Do we have to adjust the temperature? Do we have to adjust the speed? And so on. And they will try to redo it so that the cracks disappear, and then they will continue it. So we understand that from before we know the equations, we know the pressure equations and so forth, so we can predict whether these cracks will appear or not appear. Then we try to get the maximum possible extrusion speed without any cracking, right? Because if the extrusion speed is high, the whole process is faster. So we are getting a higher amount of production done. Productivity of the process is higher. So we try to do by hit and trial the maximum speed with which no defects will be there. But if by chance we cross that speed, then surface cracking will be there. The second type of extrusion defect is called extrusion defect. Yeah, it is just the name. All defects are defects in extrusion, but this particular defect is called extrusion defect itself. The type of metal flow will draw surface oxides and impurities toward the center of the billet. This is very important to understand what they are saying. You see, if you remember, when we had that one slide of metal flow in extrusion, right? So you are shown the container, the die and the billet material, and there is that cross grid of lines, and you are showing flow lines that the material is trying to flow towards the die, and it is quite smooth, that flow, when the lubrication is good or the friction at the die container surface is very low. For medium friction, the flow is not as smooth, there is some turbulence in it. And when there is very high friction at the container and billet material interface, then it is a very hodgepodge mixed up type of flow. It is not very smooth at all. So that is what we are saying, the type of metal flow, the type of metal flow. If the type of metal flow is such that there is a lot of disturbance, right, it is not a very laminar flow but very turbulent, then on the joining surface where the billet material and the container are, you see, because of the high temperature, some oxides are being formed. If these oxides only remain at the surface, they are okay. But if the flow is turbulent, some of these oxides will start to flow inside towards the center of the billet material, right? You understand this, that if the friction is high, the flow of the material is very turbulent. So some of the material which is at the surface of the die, of the surface of the billet material and the container, because of the turbulence, that material will start to flow towards the center of the die and center of the billet material. So now inside the material, inside the billet material, there will be impurities now. Earlier, whatever impurities are there are only on the outer surface of the cylinder. But now some of these impurity oxidized materials are becoming part of the full extruded billet material, right? So this is called extrusion defect. Extrusion defect, that because of non-homogeneous metal flow, some impurities at the very extreme ends, outer ends of the billet, go inside the billet material. They can be, of course, reduced by modifying the flow pattern, by machining the billet surface to a very high surface finish, and by using a dummy block. We have shown you when we were showing the equipment that a dummy block is sometimes used between the ram and the billet material. So the direct contact between the ram and the billet does not take place, right? So this is extrusion. Internal cracking. Internal cracking. You see, just now we were talking of surface cracking. In the previous slide, we were talking of surface cracking. Cracking that happens on the surface, because of friction and so on. But sometimes, if you see this figure B, sometimes if you see this, then there are these small cracks or defects at the very center of the extruded material, right? This is the billet, this is the container, this is the die. So it is being forced through the die, right? The container is there, and now this is the extruded product. But in the middle of the extruded product, if there are these small defects and so on, so this is called internal cracking, right? This is called also central burst. This is also called central burst, right? Here, if you see in this diagram, we have talked a bit earlier. I'll try to explain it earlier. This is the billet material. This blue is the billet material. So this is before extrusion and this is after extrusion. And this green is the die. Now the billet material hits the die but cannot directly go inside. So it is stopped, and after some time it starts to go towards the center of the die. So here then some material is formed from the billet which becomes like a rigid stopper, like this becomes part of the die. So this on the top side is called dead metal zone. It is called dead metal zone and so on. So the material then now comes from here, goes like this and goes into it, right? So this is the flow, but here is the dead metal zone and so on. So we talked a bit earlier, we are showing it to you again. This was just the explanation of the shape, but some defects start to develop here, and then by pressure they can burst. So there is already a defect, and then it bursts inside. So the quality of the material inside is not very good quality. This is called internal cracking, or it is called central burst defect.